welcome back to another episode of Wedding Chimes with Val Summer Edition. For today's episode, I thought long and hard about it, and we're gonna be talking about dessert tables. So I'll try to get to the point of dessert tables. So, as you know, dessert tables at any wedding is a very popular choice amongst couples. It's kind of, when people are dancing, having a good time, and usually the dessert table comes out like at 10 o'clock, 11, even midnight, or, you call a sweet table, dessert table, midnight station. There's many variations for that. But what I noticed more and more are dessert tables, or not, I don't want to say in, but a lot of couples that I worked with, they have smaller dessert tables or they don't do one at all. Again, it depends, on the culture, budget, like we spoke about. Always is the budget, because desserts, add up very quickly, right? So another trend I've seen when it comes to dessert tables are interactive, dessert tables. So example, I've seen it online in Montreal, actually, like a cannoli, not station, but someone comes around with a cannoli like cart on the dance floor, and like they pass on cannolis or other sweets. So that's something very interactive when it comes to dessert tables. It's kind of new, but at the same time, I think it's a really good choice, if you don't want to have such a big dessert table. But mind you, if you want to do a bigger dessert table, what I recommend, and is having different sweet options, sweet, salty, a bit of everything depending how many guests you are, and again what your budget is, right? Because it could add up very quickly. Also, when it comes to dessert tables, what's something fun like I like to do as a planner is have a theme for the dessert table. So for example, your theme, let's say, of your wedding is, I don't know, Alice in Wonderland. Let's say you could have sweets that kind of reflect your wedding theme or color palette. It's fun too, because I find a lot of couples, they forget about the dessert table. Like they just put whatever and that's it. But you put so much effort into your wedding, right? The decor, the music, the entertainment, and sometimes you forget about the dessert table. Hey, everyone's different, that's okay, but at the same time, you want everything to look cohesive, and it was thought of, right? Also, I know some couples opt for having just a table dessert, and that's it. For after your main course, you have a dessert, and that's it. And no dessert table, but at the same time, there's no wrong or right way to have a dessert table or not. It's preference. A lot of preference to the couple. Some, like I said, just have a wedding cake, and that's okay too. A wedding cake and everyone gets a piece, that's okay too. But back again, when it comes to the dessert table, one thing is a lot of venues, sometimes they put it in the same room as the party, or sometimes they put it outside, and that's a problem, because a lot of people don't realize the dessert table is out, and no one knows unless if the person goes outside and they're like, oh, the dessert table is there. So one thing is important is to let your DJ know, or your MC, that, hey, to make an announcement that the dessert table is outside and it's open and you can go get some desserts, because like I said, a lot of venues, if you have a lot of guests or not enough room in the room, the reception area, they put it outside, and sometimes people don't realize, and it's a shame. So it's always important to notify your guests that the dessert table is open and it's ready to go, right? One thing though I want to say about the midnight station / dessert table is that some guests feel overwhelmed with the variety of stuff. So you have like a carving station, a smoked meat station, poutine station, desserts. It could be a lot. So try to choose wisely based on your guests and how many guests will actually stay to enjoy the dessert table, right? Some venues don't give you a choice. They say, this is the options we have, too bad, too sad. You pick it or lose it. But some venues say, okay, you have different options, whatever quantity you need, right? So always ask when it comes to that, if you're going to be going with them to using their desserts, it's important to know what are your options and how many of your guests will actually be staying to actually enjoy it, right? Another thing is, when it comes to dessert tables or midnight station, is ask if you could bring your own pastries, desserts from other pastry shops, that are not coming from your venue. So you could bring outside outside bakeries, outside people that make treats, because some venues will allow it, some won't, and some will only allow outside for your wedding cake. So it's good to ask your venue, do you allow outside bakeries to bring desserts and all that stuff and set up? And some will say yes, but you have to have someone set it up for you, or they'll say no, or they'll say yes but with a fee. So it's very important to ask that question, because you might get surprised and you'll be charged for it, and we don't want that. And also, fun addition to your dessert table is a coffee bar. Oh, do I love a coffee station. Big coffee fan over here, but it's a fun thing, for some guests. If you know your guests will enjoy it, why not? Why not have it if you have the budget and space in the room to have one? And usually you put it next to the dessert stations. You have the coffee station, they come set up, and they serve coffee along with dessert, and they're there until the end of coffee station. So I know in Montreal there's many coffee bars. Some venues are getting smart and they have their own in-house one that they come and you have to pay an additional fee, but it's not worth it. I mean, my bad, it's worth it. It's very much worth it. But another thing I saw online when it comes to dessert station is customized desserts. So some will have, let's say, candy with the bride and groom's face on it or their initials. It's cute, it's nice if you really want to go there, but again, it has to match your theme of your wedding. So let's say if you're going elegant, all out, flowers, this, that, you name it, and then you have like M&Ms or Skittles or another candy with your face on it or name on it. You have to go with the theme. You have to read your room. So again, you could customize things. I love a good customization. Just make sure that it matches your overall theme and feel for your wedding, right? Because we spoke about this before. That's key, right? I love a good customization, personalization, but at the same time, there's a fine line between what's acceptable for a wedding and then what becomes a little overdone and tacky. It's like, okay, we get it. You're getting married. You're the bride and groom. We get the picture, right? And we don't want the guests leaving with that impression after everything that you planned, detailed, decoration. So again, there's a lot of, like I said, fun things you could do. And what I've seen is the couples leave like little goodie bags. So when you're leaving, you could take some treats home on your way to go, which is really cute and really thoughtful in case someone has to leave and they didn't get to enjoy the dessert or midnight station. They could take some things home, on their way to go, which is really sweet. And another thing too I saw online, haven't found it yet, but looks really cool, is a hot chocolate station too. Let's say for those winter weddings or those colder season weddings. That's kind of sweet too. Or even hot cider, apple cider, I've seen a lot depending on your theme and your venue, but it can be a fun little twist too, something on the way to go home, so they have something to go. And also another thing too, that's kind of cool, is some clients get a food truck or a poutine truck. They come, they park, let's say, outside your venue, and people go, like, if they get poutine or like the pizza truck, again, you have to have your venue, they allow it in the space and for the food truck to come. But it's really something neat, so along with your desserts, you have like a food truck that's there the whole rest of the night. It work more for like outside venues, so like a tented wedding or a backyard wedding, or an outdoor wedding. That make more sense, but hey, it works indoor too. If your venue allows it, there's enough space, I say go for it. You have nothing to lose if your budget, again, permits it, right? Because, budget is key, as we know. What else did I want to say on that note? I think, yeah, just so many, like I said, dessert tables, you make it your own. And let's say if you're from two different cultures, backgrounds, you could bring your sweets from both of your cultures and backgrounds, which is really neat too. So your guests get to taste a bit of everything. What else did I want to say? but like I said again, do your research, who's out there. Remember, one thing is important when you're getting these vendors for desserts, sweets, even your venue, ask for a sample if you can. Ask how they're gonna taste, because you don't want something there that tastes awful and you're like, ugh, and then it's served to your guests, right? You don't want that from experience. But it's important, if you're a bakery or whoever getting your sweets from, if you could say, hey, can we have a sample of it? Or try their most popular sweets and maybe pick one, And one thing I'm gonna add is make sure the sweets are easy to grab. They're not these huge pieces, like they're like something easy to grab, like cake pops or muffins, or like a slice that's easy to grab, or cannoli, something easy they could grab and then go on the dance floor, because you don't want to have a big piece of something and sit down and then eat it and then miss out on the dancing. So you want something quick, easy, they could grab and then they could go enjoy the rest of the night. And another popular option I saw that it's kind of interesting, if you could get like a ice cream station, depending, or a gelato station, if you're into that. There's a lot of variations you could do. Like I said, there's so many things you could do. It's insane. And like I said, it's your wedding. You decide what's best for you and what makes sense altogether. But at the end of the day, the most memorable dessert tables are the ones that have options that are easy to grab, like something small, easy, like a cake pop, and something that most weddings don't have. So if you've been to weddings before, you can see what they offered, what they didn't offer, what's missing, and like, okay, maybe we should add that at our wedding, because at the end of the day, you get to do it once, and you want to make sure that you leave a memorable a memorable imprint, but at the same time, don't go overboard that there's so much food waste at the end that it goes to waste, because it's just so much, like, overboard, too much food, too many desserts, so there's a fine line between that, I find, of what makes sense and then what's too much, because at the end of the day, it's already paid for, so you could take whatever leftovers home, but at the same time, again, there's a fine line, right? So that's, I think, where it's down dessert tables. And as a planner, I've seen numerous dessert tables, some smaller, some bigger, some like a whole room, and it's like, okay, there's a lot of food, it's like a whole other serving, but at the end of the day, it's what you want, really. That's what comes down to, what you want, what you don't want, what desserts, what your theme is. If you want to stick to desserts that are all pink or all blue or all purple, whatever, gold, you could do that too, so again, it's important to put some thought into it too, because many people, I find, they just miss out on, and they're like, okay, who cares? And also, one thing when it comes to dessert tables, get stands, like different heights, so it could create an elevator look, because if it's just all on one plate, it's just gonna look the same and not appealing, right? So important, get stands or rent them, or ask the venue that you get married at, do they have that, like, or you buy it. I know even at the dollar store, Amazon, they have it, and just to add something to it, just to elevate a few things so it ties in with your theme. I think that's the best advice I can give. It's just don't forget the dessert table, because everything will tie in, right? And it's important to keep that in mind. So that being said, I think that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in, as always, for hearing me talk about weddings and the wedding world and wedding planning. And I hope that this episode helps you and guides you when it comes to your dessert table choices, and if it gave you some inspiration, because who doesn't love a good dessert table? And make it your own. Have fun with it. Like the rest of your wedding, have fun with it. It's your day, right? At the end of the day, and it has to be a reflection of you and your significant other that are getting married. And as always, you could find us on YouTube, anywhere where podcasts are played, Facebook, Instagram, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.